Hello, this is Furry7, and this is Batman Arkham Origins. As always, this is live commentary, and this is actually part 3 of my series on preparing for Arkham Knight. That's actually what I called the playlist. If you click my name, scroll down, go to my channel, and scroll down, you'll be able to see the playlist. It started with going all the way back to Batman Arkham Asylum. Oh my god, man. Oh, that game is terrible. Oh, I can't believe I suffered through 30 plus excruciating minutes just for your viewing pleasure. I hope you enjoy. I hope you appreciate what I put myself through. That was awful. If you missed it, click the link, go back and watch it. I went all the way back to the original Batman Arkham Asylum, the game that started it all, and I played through it and talked about what they did right, wrong, things like that, compared to some of the recent games that came after. Then I went to Arkham City, and then I played that, talked about my thoughts. I haven't really talked about my thoughts, opinions on these games, not so much a review, just, you know, in retrospect, how the game turned out and things like that. So I did that with Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and now it is time for Batman Arkham Origins. I'm going to do a little bit of combat in here, but don't expect anything good because I'm talking and playing at the same time. My concentration is not going to... I'm really not going to be focusing on high multiplayers, but I do have a couple of videos out there where I get some really, really high scores. I ranked 28 on one of the challenge maps. You'll be able to click the link. Just scroll down, click the link, or I think there might be a flashing button on the screen. You can click that, click the annotation, it'll take you right to the video. I did the 100 to 1 map. I got high ranks in both of those maps, and I have video evidence to prove it. So, if you want to see some good combat, watch those videos because it's not going to happen here. Good combat is not happening in this video. But I will talk about the game. Now, as you can see here, the save file, I have 81%, which is not much. I did the story mode, and I did everything in the story mode, and that's about it. Well, the story mode, I did everything except one challenge in the Dark Knight system, 1 or 2 challenges left that I can accomplish pretty easy in I Am the Night mode. So it's really not that difficult, but it's the challenge maps. I was originally planning on getting every medal in all the challenge maps, just like I did with Arkham City. And in Arkham Asylum before that. But I kind of got disinterested in it after there was a challenge that I could not complete. It was bugged. The bugs in this game, they are just terrible. Let me just talk about them before I do that. Yeah, there's a challenge map where you have to get 2 enemies at a time with walls. I can't remember which one it was. It was either... I can't remember which one it was. Let's just do regular Batman skin. We don't have to do any of that crazy stuff. Let's just do that. There was a challenge map. I don't remember which one it was, but you had to get two enemies at a time with weak walls, and it's bugged because I had, before I started that challenge map, I'd already unlocked the gadget that allows automatic detonation of explosive gel. Oh my god. Was that a terrible idea on the part of the game developers? How can that even be a power-up? A power-up that makes the game harder. That's not a power-up. So yeah, I got that power-up. The one that automatic explosive gel thing. and I didn't realize how it would impact the Predator map until I played it, and it wouldn't work. What happened was the explosive gel would detonate too early, so that the enemies would get knocked down by the wall, but they wouldn't get knocked out. And the wall is gone, you can't repair it, so the only thing you can do is quit and restart the mission. And I quit and restarted the mission at least 15 times, and I am done. I am done. There might be, I haven't actually looked this up, a workaround on how to work around this glitch. There might be something on YouTube, some crazy scheme somebody thought up to work around that glitch, but the game developers really should know better. And this is one of the things. This is one of the things I was referring to in my previous video. Because the thing is that Arkham Origins had, on release, it had it had lower review scores than Arkham City. This mainly occurred on the quote-unquote professional review, like the big review companies, IGN and stuff like that. They gave the game low scores. Well, not low scores, but not low, but just lower than Arkham City, lower than what they would have liked to give it. And the reason why the game got such low scores from those reviewers is almost every single one of them said that it's because it's the same as Arkham City. There's no innovation. The combat is the same. The Predator is all the same. They threw in a few new types of enemies, but most of those are just different rehashings on some of the old ones. And so it's pretty much exactly the same. There's still the Riddler trophies and all that. And that's why this game is worse. And I actually don't understand that. Even Total Biscuit, if you watched Total Biscuit's video on Arkham Origins, he couldn't understand it either, of why these reviewers were saying that. Because here's the thing. Arkham City, these are the same reviewers who praised Arkham City's combat system and open world and all that. Aw, dang. How did I get disconnected from Xbox Live? No, it doesn't matter. We're not going to do online play anyway. I'll talk about the multiplayer in a second, but... But these are the same reviewers that praised the mechanics in Arkham City. You know, the flight mechanics, the combat mechanics, even the Predator mechanics. And they all across the board, they gave Batman Arkham City some of the best review scores. But then Arkham Origins has the same combat, same Predator, same navigation, and for some reason it's worse for them. And I don't understand it. Total Biscuit didn't understand it either in his video. I don't know. Did you like the combat or not? If you did, then you can't say that the one in this game is bad just because they didn't innovate. See, here the problem I have with a lot of those companies that give those reviews, you're not supposed to innovate for nothing, just for fun, just for the sake of innovating. You innovate when there is an improvement to be made. If there is, something that enhances the experience, that's when you innovate. If the experience is already perfect and there's nothing to improve, or not much to improve, then there's no need to innovate. There's no need to add more stuff, add more details. If it's just fine, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Beauty and the Beast. Okay, if it ain't baroque, don't fix it. And Arkham City, in my opinion, the Arkham City combat was perfect. About as perfect as it gets. Near perfect. 99%. Alright? I have never played any game with combat as good as the one in Arkham City. Still haven't. Ever since Arkham City came out. That is by hands down the best melee combat I've ever seen. With, an emphasis on free-flowing, moving from enemy to enemy and all that stuff. Best I've seen in any game. And a lot of other people think so too, especially those reviewers. But for some reason, man, Arkham Origins combat is almost identical to Arkham City. But for some reason, they think that we gotta just because it's a new game, then that means we have to do a lot of innovating. No, we don't. We don't have to do a lot of innovating just because it's a new game. Um, oh, the other thing that some people complained about, Arkham Origins used assets from Arkham City. Oh. Where even to begin? First of all, there's absolutely nothing wrong. Just because you use assets from a previous game, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Second of all, it makes sense to reuse assets from the previous game because we're still in the same place we were earlier. We're still in Gotham City, man. I mean, big cities really don't change that much during that type of time span. Although, how long is it? The in-game chronology, the time that took between Arkham Origins to get to Arkham City, I'm not sure. Several years, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense to use the same assets, buildings and all that stuff from the previous game in this one because we're in the same location and lore-wise, it makes sense. So I don't believe that the game developers were lazy just because they reused assets. But here's the thing. Here's the kicker to this whole thing. It may, up until this point, it kind of sounds like I'm defending Arkham Origins, but here's the thing. I don't think they were lazy for reusing assets. The laziness occurred when they reused the assets without making sure that they worked. They copy and pasted the assets from the old game into the new game without making sure that it fit in securely, that it was a good fit, that it fit snugly into place. That's why all the glitches happen. That's where all the bugs and problems with Arkham Origins happen. And some of them is really easy to spot, like the automatic proximity thing for the explosive gel, where it automatically explodes for you when an enemy gets close enough. That's the type of thing that can easily be fixed if they had done some testing. I think it's one of these. I think it's either this one, Blast Zone, Easy Money. I think it's that one. In one of these early maps. It's not the ones. It's one of these early maps that you have to. Hard time, maybe that one. One of these where you have to kill 2 enemies at the same time with explosive gel. And if only they had played through this Predator map one time, just do with the gadget, with the upgrade turned on, with the automatic proximity explosive gel upgrade enabled, and then tried to play this map. They don't have to play it for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just 5 minutes of playing on this map would have solved all the problems. They would have seen that it doesn't work, and they would have just made a simple change of code so that they can either lower the proximity of the explosive gel so that the enemy has to be a lot closer to the wall for it to detonate, or what they could have simply done would have been a lot easier. Just make it so that whenever an enemy is knocked down by a weak wall, that it automatically counts as a KO, rather than just stunning them for a few seconds and then they get back up, which ruins your weak wall. Then you got to start all over, start the mission all over again. They could have just did that. Just a simple change of 1 or 2 lines of code would have solved this whole thing. It just would have taken 5 minutes of their time to play for a few minutes on this map and then just do a simple change of code, and the problem is solved. Now the question is, why didn't that happen? I mean, you could argue that, you know, it's the publisher's fault for pushing the release date, for pushing the release of the game so much that they don't have time to fix all the glitches, and that's how this type of thing happens. Maybe. I mean, this type of glitch, I mean, it's really, really easy to fix. I bet I could do it. I bet I have enough experience to change the code. If this was the PC version, I might have already done it. But just to change a few simple lines of code to fix this problem. Why didn't it happen? Now, you could argue that you could say, well, this might be a problem, but this is just a little problem. What about all the other bugs and glitches that was going on in the game? The major game-breaking ones. They had their hands full with all those, and they didn't have time for this one. Well, that's really not very much of a defense. I mean, the bugs and glitches in this game, most of them got fixed. Some of them didn't. I mean, I just don't want to. I just lost interest. I legitimately was genuinely going to get every medal on every map and just complete 100% the game, get all the achievements, all the single player achievements. But man, I really was planning on doing that. But as soon as I encounter a mission that is undoable because of a bug or glitch, there's just no point. There's no point in continuing. There's no point in getting any further medals knowing that I can't get them all. I just have to just wait for the next game. I've done some of these because I got bored. But there's just no point. It hasn't been fixed. I sat around and wait for the glitch to get fixed, and it didn't get fixed. Yeah, the major bugs and glitches in this game upon launch. You know, they're only shooting themselves in the foot, because when you have a game that has bugs and glitches this severe, it really discourages people from pre-ordering the game. It really does. These companies, they want people to pre-order. Well, why are they doing stuff like this to discourage people from pre-ordering games? I mean, it doesn't really make sense. It's gotten to the point where a lot of people, including Total Biscuit, like I just talked about, and a lot of other people as well, a lot of people are advising people to just stop pre-ordering. That's what I advise people to do. My advice, generally, is don't pre-order. Because there's really no use in getting a game that might not even be playable because of bugs and glitches. And this game should not have been released at the time it was. The publisher should have just pushed the deadline back, maybe even just 1 month. Maybe even just 1 month deadline. They could have fixed some of these glitches. Just push it back just maybe 1 month. They could have fixed quite a bit of the game-breaking ones. And this game had, I mean, I've seen some pretty big glitches in AAA titles. Assassin's Creed 3, the Assassin's Creed series, like all across the board. Ever since, I think the glitches really started to get bad when Assassin's Creed, maybe around Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Revelations. That's when the glitches started to get really bad. I mean, they did have glitches in the earlier Assassin's Creed games, but that's when it started to get really bad. And they had some really bad glitches on opening day, and some of them never got fixed. They had some bad ones, but man, in all those games I played, I never had glitches as bad as the ones in Arkham Origins. They had the worst glitches I've ever seen. For those of you not up to speed on all the different things that was wrong in this game, I did a whole video. I did a whole video on this earlier, near the release date on this. I think it was like 2 or 3 days after the release date. Massive glitches. What, the biggest ones that were happening was, the corrupted memory files. This was happening on, mainly on PC versions, but it was also happening on some of the console versions as well. What would happen is the game, the way it would happen for most people is the game would freeze. It would be completely unresponsive. Usually this would happen during a loading screen. And then the only thing that you would have to do is turn off the console or the PC off and on, restart the game, and then upon restarting and trying to reload your previous save, the game gave you an error message that says the file was corrupted. And from that point forward, the game was that save file was no longer playable. And from that point forward, that save file is no longer playable. All the work and time and effort you put into that game is gone. The only thing you can do is start a new save file, a new game from scratch, and try to rebuild what you lost. And the scariest part about that glitch was there's no way to prevent it. There's no warning. I mean, there's no way to know if it's going to happen to you or not. You just gotta have to just hope and pray that it doesn't happen to you. I mean, there was nothing you could do. There was nothing you could do. It's getting almost like 25 minutes. I'll play the 100 to 1 map. So that was one of the biggest. That's the biggest, in my opinion, the corrupted save files. I mean, that just should not be happening on a AAA title. I could understand some of the lower budget games, but this should not be happening. And this is the type of thing that discourages people from pre-ordering. I don't want to pre-order a game if I might not even be able to play it. I mean, the first patch, that didn't even come out for at least a week or so after launch. So, for people who... thankfully, I did not get that glitch, but I knew a lot of other people that did get it. I didn't get any corrupted save files, and I'm very grateful for that. But there's a lot of other people, they just sat around and... Because they knew that they got the corrupted save file and they lost all their progress, and they read up on the forums that it would take several days for the patch to come out, and they just sat around for several days, wait for the patch to come out. They pre-ordered the game, got it on release date, and they can't even play it.
Time for practice.
This game should not have been released for at least a month. At least a month. They had tons of other problems going on as well. Another game-breaking glitch. Not as, almost as bad as a corrupted save file. The radio tower in Burnley. The Burnley radio tower. The infamous Burnley radio tower. Yeah. People were getting trapped in there. There's one of the Riddler missions is you have to... Oh, dang it. I forgot my shot gloves wore out. Yeah. One of the things you have to do for those Riddler things is you... Oh, come on, man! What? How did that not hit anybody? Okay. One of the things you have to do is you have to unlock all the radio towers. This one radio tower in Burnley was bugged in such a way. As soon as you go in the radio tower, it locks you in, so you can't escape. And also, there was a thing where you're supposed to escape from the radio tower using this vent. You just have to crawl out of this vent, and the vent was bugged, so that you weren't able to crawl through it. And people were getting trapped in there. And I think, did it auto-save right before you got in? I think it did auto-save. Right before you went in? And yeah, people were getting trapped in there. And from that point on, for a lot of people, the game was just unplayable. They had to just wait for a patch. And it's really sad that it happened like that. Yeah, this game just should not have been released. Now, this happened because the publishers just... What in the heck happened, man? How did I lose my combo, man? Insane, I tell you. Yeah, oh my god, man. So yeah, that game crashing and freezing, that happened to me a lot. It mostly happened during loading scenes. Loading screens. I like the idea that they had for the loading screen. Come on, man. The loading screen was pretty cool. They just had the Batwing and just make it loop for the fast travel ones, the fast travel loading screens. Just had the Batmobile and just make it, not the Batmobile, the Batwing, and just loop it so it looks like it's flying through the air, which is a pretty good idea. So you're not just staring at just a blank screen. So yeah, like, come on, man! I was trying to destroy the shield. Okay. So yeah, I like that, but I don't know, man. Something was going on with those fast travel loading screens. I don't know what was happening. Come on, man! What had happened, man? I was trying to destroy that guy's shield. Now will you destroy it? Thank you very much. One of the first problems I noticed with this game, it hasn't been patched. I don't know if they intentionally did this, or whether it was just another oversight on the part of the developers. But what is it called? The move where you jump on them? Aerial attack. That's what it is. The aerial attack. The directed aerial attack is my favorite combat move in the entire Batman games. The directed aerial attack is my favorite move. And they ruined it. They ruined my favorite move. The regular aerial attack is just fine. I don't know what happened though. Can we destroy that knife? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think and play at the same time. But yeah, the directed aerial attack was my favorite move. I'll show you. Whoops, that was a regular aerial attack. I need to kill that ninja. And the oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Trying to not lose my combo with this guy. Is he finally dead? Okay. Yay! Okay. Yeah, the direct area attacks. It's where you stun them and jump up on them, and normally it would do a regular aerial attack. But the directed aerial attacks is where you jump backward off to the side. While you're in the air, about to land on them, you hit the X button and turn to another enemy, and you'll actually, even though you'll run up on one enemy, you'll end up jumping on a different enemy. And I love the animation for that attack. It's really amazing, and it's a really useful in combat. And I always encouraged everyone to use directed aerial attacks instead of regular aerial attacks. When you do regular aerial attacks, you can get hit, increase your chance of getting hit if in midair. So there's nothing you can do about it. But with directed aerial attacks, you almost never get hit. I mean, it's almost impossible for someone to hit you when you do a directed aerial attack. So yeah, directed aerial attacks in Batman Arkham City, I mean, they were amazing. But then, I don't know what happened. I'll do another one. I'll show you. The directed aerial attacks is just terrible. He does, after he lands on him in Arkham Origins, they made it so that after he lands, he does this ground pound automatically, without your input. Right? He does this ground pound on them, and yet they're not knocked out. And it doesn't seem to do any extra damage either. So, I have no idea. I think it's a glitch. Because, I don't know, man, what's going on here. But these directed aerial attacks are just terrible. And they never got patched. I was really hoping they would get patched, and they didn't. And this is one of the things that I'm really hoping is not going to be in Batman Arkham Knight. I really hope they go back to the Arkham City version of the directed aerial attacks. The Arkham Origins version is just terrible. I'll try to show you what I'm talking about here. I'll do a directed aerial attack. Okay. So here's a stun, jump up, and see? I land on the other guy. And look at that, man! See, it does this kind of ground pound where he pounds his face, but then they're not KO'd afterwards. See, look at this. See, look at that, man. And every time you do that move, you get hit. It is impossible to safely do this move. Impossible.
Show me what you got.
See? He goes for this ground pound thing, and they're not even knocked out. I'm pretty sure this is a glitch. See? It's impossible to safely do this, man. See? I have no idea what they're doing. It makes the sound as if they're getting ground pounded.
What's this guy's story?
A ground finish, or whatever you want to call it. It makes that sound effect, but they're not actually knocked out. I don't know what happened. And it is impossible. They completely ruined my favorite move in the game. That was my favorite. The directed aerial attack, and they completely ruined it. And I really hope this isn't in Arkham Knight. It probably won't be. Arkham Knight is made by a different team of developers than Arkham Origins. Arkham Origins was made by Warner Brothers Montreal. This one is by Rocksteady. Rocksteady is the same team that did Arkham City. Now, if you remember from my last video, I praised Rocksteady for the work they did in Arkham City. It was amazing. Arkham City, man, was incredible. The DLC, the Catwoman DLC, was full. It wasn't lazy like the Deathstroke DLC in Arkham Origins. All they give you is challenge maps and nothing else. It wasn't that, man. They put effort in. They gave Catwoman had her own Riddler trophies, and oh come on, man, Catwoman had her own Riddler trophies, and you know, she had her own story missions in the story, and yeah, she had all the same challenge maps that Batman had, but it was okay that they had, she had all those challenges. It's a lot of challenge maps though, man. Don't get me wrong, man. That's a ton of challenge maps. But it was okay because she had so much real content. Challenge maps is not real content. It's not. Real content. And you could even run around in the city after you beat the game and run around and do whatever you want as Catwoman, which is amazing. I love that, just for fun. Even though I captured all the Riddler trophies and did all of the physical challenges, she has her own physical challenges in the game too, like how the Dark Knight system works in Arkham Origins. Catwoman has her own system of challenges in Arkham City, and it was amazing. I mean, they thought of everything. Rocksteady thought of everything when they did Catwoman. They did such an amazing job on Catwoman, I really can't praise them enough for what such a good job they did. And you compare that to the job that Warner Brothers Montreal did with Deathstroke. I mean, it was just terrible. It was just terrible. I like some of the animations that Deathstroke has. They did a pretty good job on that stuff. But they don't have any real content. They didn't have any real content for Deathstroke, and that was really disappointing.
You ain't got a chance.
I'm really not going to talk much about all the other characters that they introduced later on, both Arkham City and Arkham Origins. Robin was okay. I mean, they didn't do as much content as they had for Catwoman, but it's really not. I mean, he had his own story, his own DLC story mission, and you know, I don't think they really needed to add Riddler trophies for Robin. I don't think they needed to add Riddler trophies for Robin, because then I fear that it would have been a little bit too many Riddler trophies. I don't think they should have too many Riddler trophies, so I think they had just the correct amount. So I don't fault them for not giving Robin more stuff to do in the city. What I do fault them on is not giving Robin the ability to run around in the city and just do whatever you want. Even though there's nothing to do for Robin in the city, it still would have been pretty cool for Robin and Nightwing to just run around the city, do whatever you want, beat up enemies, explore the subway. You know, that would have been fun. Now, I understand. Now, there is an argument that, well, navigation would be a problem. Because, you know, how would they do the navigation for how they're going to get around the city? Because Robin doesn't have all the gadgets that Batman has and all that. And, well, the thing, Robin does have the grappler, and he does have the ability to glide. So that's a wash. He doesn't have the. Does Robin have the line launcher? I don't think so. Does he? I don't remember if he does. I don't think he launched the line launcher. He certainly doesn't have any glue grenades or anything for getting around. Anything for getting around water and stuff like that. So. What the hell? How'd I lose my combo, man? He was right there. I was aiming for that guy. Aw, dang it. Anyway, so yeah, Robin, Nightwing, and Arkham City. Yeah, they had even less content for him, but then again, there's only so much stuff they can put in the story map for characters to do. So I really don't. Yeah, Nightwing again. Nightwing, they could have It would have been nice to run around the city as Nightwing. But then, I guess the navigation... Does Nightwing have... Nightwing has the... Doesn't he? Have the, grappling? I don't actually... I really haven't played very much of Nightwing, to be honest. But, yeah. I mean... But even in those characters, the Robin and Nightwing, they didn't have as much as Catwoman. But even then, it's still way better than Arkham Origins. Now, the thing I do like about the Arkham Origins, the Bruce Wayne one, they have that campaign mission for Bruce Wayne. That campaign mission is actually pretty cool. I like that. But, you know, in my opinion, that's really just not enough content to justify all those challenge maps. Were the game developers lazy when they did Arkham Origins? Maybe. Maybe they were. But I believe it is for different reasons than what a lot of the other reviewers are saying. I was gonna try to use this information to figure out what we can expect from Arkham Knight, because that's the real thing I'm trying to. That's the real question I'm trying to answer. What can we expect in Arkham Knight? Are the game developers, you know, how many? What the heck, man? How'd I lose my combo, man? That's insane, I tell you. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. It just feels like they were just trying to rush the game. It feels like they were doing what a lot of companies do when they have a good thing going with their previous games. They know that no matter what they do, their work is going to sell like hotcakes. So they just don't put as much effort into their newest game as the previous games were. And it feels like that's what happened with Arkham Origins. There's a lot of stuff in this game that feels like it was just slapped on, and they didn't even make sure that it worked correctly. That's what it feels like with a lot of these things. Especially the ones, the stuff that they took from Arkham City and put in here. I think they did have a proximity detonator for the explosive gel in Arkham City, but I don't think I ever had any problems with that. And so when they made the changeover, when Warner Brothers Montreal made the changeover from Arkham City to Arkham Origins, and they didn't really have to do very much work, because it was already done. I mean, the mechanics were already there. All they had to do was copy and paste it into their game and just fine-tune and make sure that it fit. Make sure that it fits in their game. And it seemed like they didn't even do that. They just copy and paste it and just dust it off their hands, say, "Yup, looks good to me," and just left it at that. And that's where you get all these bugs and glitches. Now, how much is it the game developer's fault, and how much is it the publisher's fault? Honestly, I think the publisher is mostly to blame, because I don't think the game was ready for release, but the publisher was pushing it, and they knew. They knew. I know that somebody from the developer team told them, "Hey, this game still has a whole bunch of problems. I don't think it's ready for release," and the publisher just went ahead with it anyway. So I think a large part of the blame rests on the publisher, but you know, I don't know, and you know, it's really tricky. It's really tricky to pin blame on who is responsible for this. It's tricky, but it's over. And the question that really matters now is what's going to happen next. Now, when it comes to Arkham Knight, The real reason I bring up these DLCs, these characters DLCs, is because one of the things that Arkham Knight uh, is advertising is the fact that they have a Harley Quinn DLC. You can finally get a chance to play as Harley Quinn, just like you've always wanted to do. What's gonna happen? I don't know. Now, I really don't know, because here's the thing. It's possible that they could do just as good of a job with Harley Quinn as they did with Catwoman. But I don't know. Maybe it's possible that Catwoman was just a fluke accident. It was one of those once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, one of those things that's just a flash of lightning, a stroke of genius, and they ended up accidentally doing a really good job with it, and it's never going to happen again. But I really don't believe that too much. Harley Quinn. Well, what do we know for sure? Well, we do know that Harley Quinn is going to have all the challenge maps that Batman is going to have, which is going to be a lot. I mean, this is a lot of challenge maps in Arkham Origins. Origins has even more than the ones in Arkham City, which, of course, is one of the things I predicted right before Arkham Origins even came out. That's one of the things I predicted months before it came out, is it's going to have even more challenge maps. One of the things people were complaining about with Arkham City is so many challenge maps and not enough content across all 4 characters. I mean, that's so many hundreds of hours spent in challenge mode and not very much time spent in story mode. And when you have that much time in your challenge maps the ratio of time spent in the challenge maps needs to be not the same, but it needs to be somewhat comparable to the amount of time spent in the story. I'm not saying they need to be about the same, but it's if you've ever tried to get every medal for all 4 characters in Arkham City, you'll know what I'm talking about, because it seems like you're spending an overabundance of time in challenge maps, and the time spent in the story mode is just a little bit compared to time spent in challenge maps. Now, I mean, I don't know. I mean, 4 characters. They're probably going to have four different playable characters in Arkham Knight. One is obviously going to be Batman. One is obviously going to be Harley Quinn. The other one's probably going to make some DLC campaign missions. But the Harley Quinn one is the one I'm really, really focused on, because that's the one they're advertising. That's the one you get if you pre-order Arkham Knight. You get Harley Quinn. And, again, the pre-order is subject of pre-ordering company. Should you really pre-order this game? I am, because I need to get it on release date so I can make those videos as soon as possible. But that has nothing to do with it. That's a different story. But I don't know. I don't know. How are they going to do on bugs and glitches? Now, Arkham City, the bugs and glitches, they had some, but it wasn't nearly as bad as Arkham Origins. And they got them fixed really quickly. So, I can't think of any bugs and glitches that are left over that remain unfixed. At least not on the Xbox 360 release. The PC release might have some, but on the Xbox 360 release, I've played through Arkham City a whole bunch of times. I just love that game. Arkham Origins, I played through once. It's the games that you play through a whole bunch of times. Those are the games that you really love. That's how you know you love a game, when you look back and you realize that you've played through it a whole bunch of times. I don't know, man. This Harley Quinn thing, I mean, there's a lot of potential. I mean, it has the potential to be absolutely amazing. But it also sounds like the kind of thing that's easy to mess up if they do it wrong. I really hope that they don't be lazy with this Harley Quinn thing and only give us challenge maps and nothing else. The Deathstroke DLC was the equivalent DLC in Arkham Origins. Pre-order Arkham Origins and you get the Deathstroke DLC. And what was it? All it is just nothing. It's just a Deathstroke playable character with the same challenge maps and everything. Nothing, no real content at all. None whatsoever. I don't think that's going to happen with Harley Quinn. I think Harley Quinn is going to have some content, but how much? I mean, is she going to have her own Riddler trophies? That would be pretty cool. Is she going to have, like, her own special abilities? She is the leader of the Joker gang. I mean, that would be amazing to play as the leader of the Joker gang. And then it could be kind of like how they had in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. You could, like, press a button or do some special move, and then she calls out for the Joker clan, and she could say something really funny. Get your useless butts over here, or something like that. Just say something really witty, and then, and then all of a sudden you have the Joker clan coming out from everywhere, jumping out of windows onto the street. You know, drive up in cars and jumping out and helping her fight. You know, that sounds like it would be a pretty cool game mechanic. Kind of like how they did in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, with. You know, you press a button and you could call your assassin recruits up, and you could fight alongside the recruits, and it just felt so amazing. That would be awesome. Are they going to do something like that? Hard to say. I think they might. You know, if this was any other company, Warner Brothers Montreal, Ubisoft Montreal, I'd say probably not. They're probably not going to put that much effort into making this. But you know, Rocksteady did a really good job with Arkham City, and you know, I really don't want to. I really don't want you to get your hopes up too high, but there's a lot of potential here. I think there's a lot of potential. I don't want you to get your hopes up too high though, because. You know, it could be one of those cases where they know that their game is going to sell anyway, regardless of how much effort they put in, and so they just put in the minimum amount of effort required, and you end up with a game like Arkham Origins. You know, I really hope one of the things I think is going to be fixed is the inverted, not the inverted takedowns. It has a really long name. That's why it's hard to remember. The directed aerial attacks. That is the full name of the move. It's a 3-word name. The directed aerial attacks. I think that the directed aerial attacks are going to be the same as Arkham City. So I don't think we're going to get the goofed up version they got in Arkham Origins. So I don't think we have to worry about that. I heard some promising things about Arkham Knight. You'll be able to do counters when you're in the middle of animations, which is absolutely incredible. I wish we could have done that earlier. Like 3 games ago. But this would be awesome. They say that this is going to be the last Batman game. I really, really hope not. Because, you know, I don't think Arkham Origins got a fair chance since it started out with such a rocky start. Didn't put the best foot forward. Warner Brothers Montreal. You know, I really hope that they do enough testing to make sure that everything works. And if not, put toggle options onto some of these abilities. Obviously the proximity, explosive gel. That would be nice if you could toggle that ability after you've unlocked it. If you could toggle it on and off, so you could, if you didn't want them to explode automatically, you could just turn it off until you're ready for it to work again. Then you could just turn it back on manually. That would be a nice addition, so that after you unlock that ability, you could toggle it on and off, of whether you wanted it to unlock automatically or whether you wanted to have more control over when it exploded. That would be nice. That sounds more like an upgrade. What happened in Arkham Origins was more like a downgrade. It made the game harder. It made it harder to finish some of these challenges. You lose control over your explosive gel, once you get that ability. And that's... Loss of control is never good. Especially in a video game. No, in a video game, no less. Loss of control is not an upgrade. Loss of control is not an upgrade. I should make that the title of this video. But this video is getting kind of long. I'm just gonna touch on other things very briefly. I got end up talking about other stuff. But that's the stuff I'm most passionate about. In Arkham Origins. Now, the multiplayer in Arkham Origins. I haven't talked about that very much. I was going to make a video on multiplayer. I never got around to it. I recorded it. I never got around to uploading it. But it's probably still on my computer somewhere. Either that or it got deleted with some of my other stuff. Yeah, the multiplayer. The multiplayer in Origins... has so many similarities to the multiplayer in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood that it wouldn't surprise me if it was some of the same people. It wouldn't surprise me if it was some of the same people. Multiplayer is terrible. The gameplay is really cool. But the way they did it, I'm not quite sure if the multiplayer is balanced. It seems like it is, but I don't know. I honestly didn't play the multiplayer enough to know for sure, but it seemed like the Bane team had more of an advantage. It seemed like the Bane team win more often. It seemed like I won games more often when I was on the Bane team. I don't know. It does seem... There's something... I think it's those remote control, unmanned area vehicles. Aerial vehicles, those UAV things. Those robot helicopters. Quadcopters. I think those may be overpowered. I don't know if they're overpowered or not. Or if they just need just a buff. Maybe just decrease the number of times it's able to fire or decrease the damage that the weapon does. Or maybe they already did that since I stopped playing the multiplayer. Maybe they already patched that and I'm not aware of it. But, I don't know, the Bane. Now, the Joker team, those nail guns are amazing. You can kill Bane. I've killed Bane himself, one-on-one, quite a few times with those nail guns. So those nail guns are pretty cool. For the Joker team. So yeah, I like that. I don't know, maybe it's not unbalanced, but the multiplayer just doesn't feel. I like the setup. I think it, for the most part, it is balanced, but there's just a 1%. 99% of the game feels balanced. Just 1%. Just something I can't really figure out what it is. Just something that's not balanced with the multiplayer. But that's not really a real issue with multiplayer. The real issue is the fact that the multiplayer thing is terrible. You need the queuing up. The queue times are way too long. You need to have all 8 people in your group in order to start the game. And if one of those people leaves before the game starts, then the countdown timer is completely reset and it all starts over. They did lower the countdown timer a few weeks in. They patched that. But still, it was not optimal. The host of the game, it was the same way it was in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. When Brotherhood first started. The multiplayer for Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, up until then, the Assassin's Creed games did not have a multiplayer. Brotherhood was the first Assassin's Creed game to have a multiplayer, and man, it went off to a really, really rocky start. Brotherhood multiplayer, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood had the same problems. Really, really, really long wait times. You need all... like 8 people or so to start the game, and if any one of those people left, you got the timer restarts. One of the players is the host, and if the host leaves, everyone gets kicked out at the same time. It happened in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and it happened in Arkham Origins. If the host leaves the game, or gets kicked out, or disconnects for Xbox Live for some reason, everybody is booted, and I just got tired of it. I just don't play multiplayer anymore. I liked it. It was really fun when you can get into a game. The multiplayer in Arkham Origins is really fun. But if you can, I just don't want to wait that long to queue up for a match. The multiplayer in Arkham Origins is better if you can get other people in your party. So that way you have a better chance of starting a game. That way there's a whole bunch of you all in a party, and none of you are going to leave, and so you can get faster times rather than if you're just a Lone Ranger trying to queue up, just waiting for random people to pass by. So, yeah, the multiplayer. Arkham Knight, I kind of hoping that Arkham Knight doesn't have a multiplayer. They don't really need one. The Batman games don't really need a multiplayer. They're just fine just the way they are. It has a lot of parallels to the Assassin's Creed multiplayer. They didn't have one up until Brotherhood came out. And the Brotherhood multiplayer ended up being a lot of fun if you can get into a game. But if you're not in a game, it just took the wait times for being in those lobbies, sitting in the lobby waiting for a game to start, man, was just ridiculous. I'd be sitting in a lobby for 15, 20 minutes waiting to get enough people to start a game, and if somebody left, then the timer just restarted all the time. And Revelations, then when the next game came out, Revelations came out, it solved all those problems with the multiplayer. So, is Arkham Knight gonna be that? The Revelations, the Assassin's Creed Revelations of the Batman series? I don't know. Arkham Knight, if they can manage to fix those issues with the multiplayer, I would think it would be worth playing for the multiplayer. The multiplayer was pretty fun, a lot of fun, and it was really interesting. I loved the asymmetrical gameplay. I loved it. I really did, and it was a lot of fun. It was really intense, adrenaline-filled, action-packed, all that stuff. So yeah, and it was a change of pace to play from the perspective of the thugs, rather than always playing from the perspective of Batman, who has his detective vision and all that, and just the normal guys. The movement for those guys is really clunky compared to Batman and stuff. The movement is a lot more fluid and stuff. So it was a nice change of pace. What else? The Dark Knight system. I hate the way they did it in Arkham Origins. It would have been better if they'd stuck with the regular physical challenges from Arkham City instead of this tier progression system that they have in Arkham Origins, where you cannot embark on the next challenge unless your current challenge is finished. And it makes it so difficult partially because it makes the challenges missable. You can miss the challenge if you miss an opportunity somewhere in the story to complete one of the challenges. You're just out of luck. You either have to start New Game Plus. If you already finished New Game Plus, you're just out of luck, man. You gotta start a new save file. You might be able to complete it in I Am the Night mode. Good luck with that. But other than that, you're just gonna have to create a new save file and start all over. And it's a really terrible. The Dark Knight system. That is one of the places where they did innovate, and it was terrible. This is why I say don't innovate just for the sake of innovating. You only innovate when there is an improvement to be made. And the physical challenges that they had in Arkham City was way better than the Dark Knight system they have in Arkham Origins. They should have just stuck with the original model they had. So you can do any challenge you want. Any challenge that's available on the list, you can embark on those challenges whenever you feel ready. And I don't know why they didn't, man. They didn't do it, man. And most of the challenges in Arkham City you can complete in the story map. You don't have to be inside of a room, a predator room, to do it. Most of those. Some of those you had to be in a mission to do it. But if you're not currently on a mission, some of those challenges in Arkham City, most of those you can complete just normally. But yeah, I hate that progression system. Also, what I don't like in Arkham Origins, the grading system for combat, for both combat and Predator. The grading system is terrible because you can do everything perfectly in a combat situation and still get a C. This happens most often if you have only a few enemies that you encounter, like if there's only 2 or 3 enemies. The game should still give you an S ranking if you didn't get hit, and if you got as high of a variation bonus as possible, considering you only had 2 enemies, and you got the highest variation bonus possible, you didn't get hit, you know, and all of that stuff, and the game should still give you an S if you did all of that. S rank. Man, I don't know, man. They should have did a better job. Also, the game doesn't actually give you more experience based on your combat multiplier. So, more multiplier doesn't mean more score, which is a mistake in my I think. I think the system they had in Arkham City was absolutely perfect. For the system that they had for calculating how much experience you got after a fight. Perfect, except for the Predator. In Arkham City, the one thing I do have against Arkham City, calculating experience for Predator encounters. I don't think they do a good enough job of explaining what constitutes variation bonus. Because a lot of times I did at least 4 different types of takedowns, and they only gave me 2 variation bonus. And I know for a fact that they should not have counted, because some types of takedowns, there are some types of takedowns that will count as the same, even though technically they're different, and so it'll only give you 1 for variation bonus instead of 2 for variation. That's a minor complaint I have, but it only applies to the Predator ones. So yeah, variation. They gotta expand their takedown variation. Whether or not you do a corner cover takedown, or a silent takedown from behind, or a what's that called? Knockout strike, knockout smash. You know, those should all be considered differently, and the game considers. I think the game considers corner cover takedown and silent takedown from behind as the same thing. So, it's crazy. Knock them out with a batarang before you take them down. Yeah. I think the way they should do it. What I do in the story mode of Arkham City when I do the Predator encounters, I try to duplicate what some of the challenge maps have you do. Because the Predator challenge maps have you do some pretty unique stuff. Take down enemies in pretty unique ways. Some of the challenges require you to do to disarm them before you take them down. Some of the challenges require you to do a beatdown finish against them. Some of them require you to slide into the enemy to knock them down and take them down. So yeah, a lot of different things. And I tried all those different stuff in the story mode, and it didn't count toward variation. So I think they gotta redo that. Rocksteady should redo that. Make sure to make sure that the variation bonuses actually work in the story mode, so that you get high enough score. So yeah. So yeah, other than that, the tiered progression system for unlocking the upgrades, that I hated as well. You're only allowed to you're only allowed to do basically 1 upgrade at a time, because it's a tree. You upload one before the other, and so it's just a string of upgrades. You're not allowed to pick and choose which upgrade you want to put a point in. And I think that was a mistake. It had more of an open world aspect in Arkham City, because you could choose which gadget you want to upgrade, and you had all these different choices in front of you. But for Arkham Origins, you don't choose. You have one choice. You can you can either upgrade the gadget available in combat or upgrade the Predator one, and it's just very linear from there. And yeah, man, I think that was a mistake for Arkham Origins, but I think yeah, I think Arkham Knight has some potential. I think it could be awesome. I think it has potential to be absolutely awesome. I've heard some good things about it. I really hope they do a good job with the Harley Quinn. I know that they're going to give us a million challenge maps, but it'll be okay if they give us real content to do with Harley. Things to do in the story mode. Let us run around the map as Harley at the end of the game and just dink around, do whatever. I mean, that would be pretty cool. Just explore, walk up to NPCs, engage. One of the things I loved about that they did with Catwoman Arkham City, they gave Catwoman alternate dialogue. They gave the NPCs alternate dialogue. Because, you know, in the game world, you can walk up to some of these criminals and engage in conversation with them. And they have their lines of dialogue. But you can also do that with Catwoman. Play as Catwoman and then walk up to all these guys, walk up to Mr. Freeze, look at the dialogue that he has, and even Bane has some stuff to say to Catwoman. And it's really cool to explore and find out what happens as you went around as Catwoman. And it's they did an amazing job with that. That would have been really cool to have with Arkham Origins, but they didn't bother to put extra dialogue for any of the other characters. For Deathstroke, that you can't run around the city as Deathstroke unless you get the PC version and download a mod. I mean, it's just terrible, man. I hope that they do more stuff with Harley Quinn, have the alternate dialogue for that way when you can walk up to enemies that Batman already captured and engage in conversation and see what they have to say to her. It would be awesome. Is Rocksteady going to do that? Hopefully, yes. Hopefully, yes. I mean, there's really no telling. I mean, a lot of time has passed since Arkham City and now, but I think Rocksteady can pull it off. They just, it's really, I think most of it is really going to hinge on the publisher allowing them enough time to get that stuff done. Now, I think I've already made this video way longer than I was originally planning, but I just wanted to give my thoughts on this. I haven't done that yet, and Arkham Knight is almost coming out, so I just wanted to give my thoughts, my predictions on what's going to happen in Arkham Knight. On Arkham Knight, what other characters are they going to have? I don't know. I know Harley Quinn is going to be one of them. I was really hoping that Batgirl would be one of the DLC characters for Arkham Origins. They could have had a storyline of several years after the events of Arkham Origins. Then that's when Batgirl joins up with them, and then you could play as Batgirl, you know, all these Batgirl missions and stuff. I was really hoping they'd do something like that. But anyway, if you want to see some of my other Batman videos, click the link. I have a lot of Batman Arkham Origins videos, and you know, I have one video on how that exploits one of these glitches. You can jump out of the map and fly around outside of the map, and it looks really cool. I have a video on that, so yeah, I have a lot of stuff. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. Put down your comments. Let me know what you think. What do you think about Arkham Knight? Do you have high hopes for that game, or do you think it's going to be just another terrible, lazy waste of time? I don't know. I have higher than average hopes, but my hopes are not so high that it's like all the way up to Arkham City levels. I'm hoping they do as good of a job as they do with Arkham City, but I'm not quite counting on it. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Go to my channel and scroll down. You can see my other Batman videos. And thank you very much for watching.